Cobra Commander.
Greetings and welcome to the first Congress of the Secret Society of Cobra. You have all been selected to wear the signet of the new brotherhood, known as the Coil. We are all dedicated to the extinction of Serpentor and his deranged scientist sidekick, Dr. Mindbender. We must return Cobra's power to its rightful heir, namely me!
The NAA, Negative Alien Agenda. According to our Christian Bible, the Archons are the rulers, Archonton, who Paul said had no eye to see, no ear to hear, and no heart to imagine that Jesus was who he claimed to be. For if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. 1 Corinthians 2 verse 8. They are the chief priests, archiries, and rulers, archontes, who delivered Jesus up to the sentence of death, and they crucified him. Luke 24 verse 20. The ruler, archonta, of the power of the air, the spirit who is now at work in the sons of disobedience, Ephesians 2 verse 2, Beelzebul, the prince, archonti, of the demons, Luke 11 verse 15. The Archons. Many people that have done DMT ayahuasca have reported seeing the AI as an octopus-like being controlling this planet. This octopus-like being is giving birth to entities known as the Archons. I believe this being to the one referred to as Satan or the devil. Researchers of the Archons have stated that the Archons are the reptilians and the Greys. This is incorrect. The reptilians and the Grey clones have become fully possessed and no longer have any free will and are completely living out an archontic agenda and placing us all in an energetic prison to become food for their Archon overlords. The Archons began to hang out around those beings which were also programmed to survive, and thus they found the ancient races of the reptilians. Because of their genetics, the reptilians came very easily under the archontic influence. After time they possessed the reptilian races and thus they fell in consciousness. The reptilian races have been under the influence and possession of these archontic entities for thousands of years. It seems that the falling of many races within our galaxy have all been caused to one degree or another by this archontic infection. An archontic infection begins by the parasite lowering your vibration to lock you in an astral plane. There you are much more easily influenced and controlled. They can achieve this through many methods. Drugs, alcohol, and pharmaceuticals can be used by the Archons to infiltrate the free will of people. In this state, the possessing entity can then drain the energy directly from the solar plexus. Anyone trying to rid themselves of an archontic infection will be brought very quickly to paranoia and anger towards other people. It is reported that meth addicts and heroin users often see these archontic parasites as demons around them. What are they? The Archons are parasitic entities which are intelligence-driven mind predators. They exist on multiple dimensions, able to slip from one dimension to another. Inner Earth, the origin of the inner Earth and its inhabitants. Some of these beings will be interacting with surface humanity, Homo sapiens, upon the new Earth, the origin of non-Homo sapiens humanoid life forms in the inner Earth goes back to the days of Maldek, approximately 30 to 45 million years ago. Insectoid and reptilian life forms in the inner Earth are even more ancient, from approximately 85 to 90 million years ago. So, to understand the humanoid life forms of Agartha requires some background history pertaining to Maldek. Maldek was the third planet in this solar system. Saturn was first, Jupiter was second. 5 large moons, and several smaller moons, orbited around Maldek, which was approximately 1/2 the size of Jupiter. The 5 large moons were, each, brought to this solar system from other star systems. Today, you know those 5 large moons as the planets Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and Ceres. Upon Maldek and its 5 large moons were 6 root races of humanoids, 5 races similar to those currently found on the surface of the Earth, plus a 6th pale blue-skinned race. It was foreseen by the Confederation of Planets, the Saturnian Council, that it was probable that Maldek would destroy itself. So, the Council moved the large moons away from Maldek in order to try to preserve as much of the life on those moons as possible. In the subsequent explosion of Maldek, the smaller moons were destroyed, right along with Maldek. Together, their remnants form what we, today, call the asteroid belt. Prior to the destruction of Maldek and its smaller moons, some humanoid beings from Venus went to the Earth and established themselves underground there. Bear in mind that, at that time, there already existed insectoid and reptilian life forms there. In fact, it was through the terraforming activities of these insectoid beings that the physical structure of inner Earth was created. The tunneling activities of these beings created honeycomb-like clusters within the interior of the Earth. The humanoid beings have, subsequently, utilized those large vaults in which to build their cities, which are, in fact, holographic. So, there were humanoid and primate occupants, along with indigenous insectoid, reptilian, and other occupants of inner Earth long before Homo sapiens was created. The inner Earth beings act as stewards of the Earth. All second and third density life forms on the surface of the Earth are created within the inner Earth and delivered to the surface. The surface of the planet is to be left to third density life forms that they may acquire an understanding of and appreciation for nature, first and second density life. Once those third density life forms reach fourth density and assuming that they have achieved a love of nature, then they may move into the Earth's interior with the beings of inner Earth. Some of the inner Earth beings have, in the past, waged war upon one another. As a consequence, the inner Earth is divided into territories that, in some ways, resemble countries on the surface of the Earth. Although some inner Earth civilizations engage in trade and other friendly relations with other Agarthan groups, some of the inner Earth beings are not interested in interacting with others. An agreement was reached, at the time of the second cycle of Atlantis, between the inner Earth beings and certain extraterrestrial groups. For example, the Iznuni from the 6th density of Sirius B to aid Homo sapiens on the surface of Earth with conscious crystalline technology. Prior to the destruction of Maldek, some of the Anunnaki left Maldek and established themselves underground upon Mars. From their base on Mars, these beings came to Earth in the 3rd cycle of Atlantis. These beings contributed to the corruption of part of the Atlantean priesthood, which had control over the conscious crystalline technology. The crystalline technology was misused in a way that led to the destruction of much of the surface life on Earth, in some ways similar to the way in which, today, HARP technology is misused. Needless to say, the Iznuni and the inner Earth groups withdrew the conscious crystalline technology from Homo sapiens. Surface humanity was not responsible enough at that time, and, to this day, to handle that kind of power without misusing and abusing it. If, and when, you will ever be loving enough to handle that kind of power responsibly is up to you. As many dictators and scientists on Earth are former Maldekian incarnates are substantially repeating the same mistakes. Feline and Lyran. Lyran starseeds were the oldest souls in our known galaxy. The reason I say were, it's highly unlikely any first-generation Lyrans exist anymore. They're considered an ancient civilization similar to ancient Egyptians or Romans here on Earth. We know they existed at some point, but now only descendants exist. Lyrans weren't the only starseed type to live on Vega, the brightest planet within the Lyra constellation. Lyrans were a bipedal mammalian species with feline features from the planet Lyris in the Beta Quadrant. Felines, another ancient civilization, lived with them. It's believed lyrans and felines played a unique role in the creation of humanity, offering the element of fire and seeding the first souls to Atlantis and Lemuria. Reptilian. Dark reptilians are dark starseeds. They are shapeshifters who reincarnate on planets to obtain control for selfish benefits. It explains why, as starseeds, many of us cannot understand how some people can be so cruel and malicious. It's something I always wondered about until I learned about reptilians. Their sole purpose is to manipulate societies, cultures, and technological development. They do this by depleting a planet's resources, as well as committing crimes against humanity. Note: dark reptilians are different to light reptilians. Draconian. Draconian starseeds, or Dracos for short, hail from the Draco constellation, which is only around 303 light-years from Earth. One star within the Draco constellation, called Thuban, was actually considered a guiding North Pole star during the first millennium on Earth. Associated with dragons, Draconian starseeds are a reptilian subrace. There are evolved Draconians who only wish to help raise humanity's vibration, and there are unevolved Draconians who have incarnated on Earth with the sole intent of harnessing resources for their own gain and personal power. They have a military-style energy, with their main agenda being to come forth, conquer, and multiply. It's rare for evolved Draconian starseeds to want to stay within Draco. As they are the minority on the planet, they often flee to other systems to escape. Yes, Draconians exist and are playing their role, consuming children, fear-mongering, dabbling with lower sects of government, military installations, etc. Yet, these are the lower caste of the Dark Cabal. In this grand, dark empire, the Nordics run the higher echelons. These are the gods described throughout history. Any reference to an ET humanoid, and you can bet it's them. Any religion, especially the New Age movement, is swarming with them. Unlike the reptilians, who actually eat people, the blondies feed energetically from humanity. Where do you think all the psychic energy from church gatherings go? They will be showing up in the near future to save us from our dark overlords. Be careful of this ploy and the unconditional love they will be spewing out. Good cop, bad cop at its finest. Therefore, it's easy to see the job they do on certain channelers and others. Look at Colleen. She was lured into an entirely false paradigm and has no idea which way is up, or even who she is. Oh right, she's Isis, the lover of Archangel Michael. On a further note, these Nordics are nothing but reptilians who have altered their DNA. If you didn't know, genetics are the #1 commodity out there. It has actually been stolen from the Pleiades. Though, don't expect to be seeing any actual Pleiadians because this empire has the entire planet gridlocked. Good luck with such future events, gentlemen. However, according to the records, and as fate would have it, on one orbital pass, Nubra came in so close that one of its moons struck Tiamat, our Earth, and tore about half of it off. Just ripped this planet in half. According to the Sumerian records, this big chunk of Tiamat, along with her major moon, got knocked off course, went into orbit between Venus and Mars, and became Earth as we now know it. The building blocks of life may be more than merely common in the cosmos. Humans and aliens may share a common genetic foundation. That's the tantalizing implication of a pattern found in the formation of amino acids in meteorites, deep-sea hydrothermal vents, and simulations of primordial Earth. The pattern appears to follow basic thermodynamic laws. Rh-negative blood. Rh-negative bloodline is blood that is inherently karmic, less blood of the original angelic human diamond sun template, the ancestral miasm from previous human generations hybridized with animal or alien DNA is not recorded in the same way as in the karmic blood patterns that are sourced from alien-generated genetic distortions. The karmic miasma patterns of repeated lifetimes on Earth are energy stamps that are recorded in the blood of every being that is born into this dimension with alien hybrid genetics. Rh-negative blood is sourced from the original angelic human DNA from the stars. As such, they may be called starseed people. The Rh-negative blood types have been extensively controlled and manipulated for attempted hijacking by the Illuminati bloodlines. Many insist that reptilians are the source of Rh-negative blood, which is incorrect. Indigos, extraterrestrial souls, beyond 3D Earth plane, born to human bodies having more than 2 strands of DNA potentially active with a 6th DNA imprint. They have unique abilities because of their unique arrangement patterns of stellar DNA. They are the result of advanced extraterrestrial blood experiments that have gone through many genetic changes in order to foster their interdimensional talents. The founder Blue Ray Orifim are the parents to the indigo children on the Earth. This is a large group of souls that chose to come to Earth via spacecraft and open portal systems, some from the Pleiades, and hosted through Sirius Gateway and beamed down as human energetic templates as embryos that would match their missions through specific arrangement of genetic codes. Most indigos now on the planet with ascension missions were born after the harmonic convergence of 1987. They require innovative parenting and should not be medicated for ADHD as children. Indigos also have the ability to pick up signals and communication from ET beacons, such as the one found by Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin and American Alan Shepard during 1961, referred to as postcards from the rim. These ET beacons emit both EMF, light and tone signals, along with a mathematical language, which can translate like a 3D holographic film of the galaxy. Many monoliths are out in space, devised by groups of ET races, and some of the awakened indigos resonate to their intergalactic messages and translate that new language into the Earth consciousness fields. Walk-ins. Walk-ins, the classic definition of a walk-in is an advanced soul choosing to volunteer, through a combination of galactic agendas, to assist Earth through her next stage of evolution. There are many different types of walk-in agreements. One common type is a specific group that do not go through the birth process. They trade places with someone already in human form through a prearranged agreement with that soul. If a starseed or light worker have no other way to complete their soul mission, then they might agree to leave the body and make a trade with a walk-in. Many advanced galactic civilizations have used these walk-in experiments at the pinnacle of evolutionary change in order to match celestial agendas. This is not to be confused with being possessed of spirit. That is another matter altogether. These walk-ins that are being placed in human form are guided in deliberate fashion and in accordance with free will at cosmic levels of agreements. The silver cord of life force is traveled upon to imprint the new consciousness of the walk-in, and agreements are made to fulfill certain family concerns left unfinished by the soul walking out. After a period of adjustment, then certain behavior patterns emerge and drastic changes start to take place, such as weddings, divorces, relocation, change of occupation, even sexual preference may change. Walk-ins can be permanent, which means that the original soul will not return. Temporary walk-ins can use a human body for short periods of time while the original is gathering new instructions while residing in other realms before returning back to body. So a walk-in can be permanent or temporary. There are also other ascension prototypes for the walk-in that differ from this classic template. These can be soul braids from galactic family, embodiment of star or planet logoi, or other arrangements that are specific to genetic template creation and birthing, which is required for soul groupings to incarnate in other planetary chains. There are also future self walk-ins, which is that the future identity of the person goes into the past timelines and steps into the previous identity body in order to change timelines from destruction or to help in the evolution process. These are future souls or monads which come to the past to help change the event horizon in future. Light workers, advanced souls originating on Earth, who have evolved to the point of developing special abilities and talents, which are needed for elevating the planet and her inhabitants to expand consciousness. They were born to the body they occupy. They seem to be drawn to the process of spiritual or Kundalini awakening and the ascension, helping to preserve the Earth and starseed missions, and want to be involved with their agendas. They are the angelic worker bees of mission control. Many will choose to have astrological star codings, although they will not be starseed, but by frequency they seem to resonate to healthy lifestyles and empowermental, moral, ethical, spiritual behavior wherever they go. Their home is the Earth, and they want to keep it sustainable for all forms of life. When their mission is completed, they will be returning to a version of the Earth reality, not to the stars or other planets.